God,
Uh, I still haven't recovered from the convention.
really?
Yeah, I'm still going to sleep late and waking up early.
Yeah, I am too. I won't lie.
Uh, I've tried. I think there's been like 2 days that I've had an actual quote unquote sleep schedule, but other than that, it's been
Jeez.
horrendous.
I mean, honestly, con schedule is my normal sleeping schedule, so I'm used to it.
This guy.
I'm I'm used to going to bed by midnight at the latest. I'm tired of this 2 a.m. waking up at
Yeah,
6
I,
a.m.
I I
Mm,
used to start passing out at like maybe
hmm
2 o'clock, and now it's not even a thing. Two? What's that? 2 o'clock? Oh, that's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
chump change.
And this
Oh
man
no, they
walk
blurred the
away.
chair. They blurred the
Damn,
chair. The chair.
damn.
The chair
This
is the
man,
chair is.
Everything's questionable in here.
yeah, yeah. This man got the Japanese filter on and everything blurred out.
It's like
Look at
his
this.
entire
No.
room, bro.
But no, real quick. So before we get into this is the DreamCon episode. So before we actually get into our DreamCon experiences, the ups and downs of DreamCon and everything like that. I was watching a video earlier today. Um, and it was one of those anime hot takes, like what's your anime hot take, blah blah blah. And the person hot take was actually a very interesting or statement, and I wanted to ask the question. So the guy says, what's your anime hot take? And the person answered, um, anime is no longer unique. And what they meant by that is like there's a formula to almost every single anime that comes out now because it's all the same genres pretty much coming out at the same time. Like, I mean, the summer 2024 schedule is literally 95% isekai,
Mm.
and that's crazy that there's barely any diversity in it. But I mean, Shonen's always had the same formula for the most part forever. I mean, very few have diverted from the actual Shonen formula and done well with it. I think that's why My Hero sort of was able to stand strong when stuff really happened because it was a bunch of teenage superheroes learning life at the same time instead of everybody sort of like, oh, well, here's the main character and then here's the one villain and then level up. No, it's like there's one villain. Well, yes, My Hero had multiple small villains at the time, but there was one villain and it was a lead up to the fight with the one villain instead of the season's villain, the season villain, this season villain, and that's it. No continuation. Um,
Kingdom.
but also I think that's why recently standouts like Free Run and Delicious in Dungeon have been so amazing because they're different from everything else that's going on. Because Free Run we thought was just going to be like a slice of life fantasy thing, and it turned out there's literally everything in it. It has not morality. Well, it does have morality discussions, but it has mortality discussions. It does have dungeon crawling. It has slice of life elements. It does have sort of a shonen element here and there because of the action and the one main villain and the growth of the character going through it. But it's done in such a way that all of it is sort of refreshing and new. And then Delicious in Dungeon, we literally thought it was just gonna be a cooking anime, and it turns out to be cooking, dungeon crawling, and then good action elements out of nowhere and an actual like organic story that grew so well over time.
Mm.
So my question to you guys is anime, since anime is so big and mainstream now, did anime lose its uniqueness to what made anime special?
Uh, I would say that there certainly was a point where it did. Like it was more obvious than it was than it is now. I think like especially when My Hero came out, Dragon Ball Super was going on. You had like a few other things in there. Um, because most of what you saw was either shonen or isekai, and those were like even now those are still like the two biggest genres you see, but we are getting more here and there, like you said, Frieren and then Delicious in Dungeon, because Delicious in Dungeon to me is has been the most creative of what I've experienced so far. And then to add on to that, you said about My Hero changing things a little bit with how they approached their story. Kaiju number eight kind of also did because they introduced a character that was uh at a later stage in his life versus the typical like child or teenager or young adult that they will typically have in your shonen and whatnot. And so having that perspective of like a man who's already lived a good portion of his life now finally be able to achieve his dream is an interesting take on the genre. But like overall, I think it was more of a bigger issue than it is now. I mean, well, we are getting a lot of like rehashes of like isekai and stuff now, but I don't think it's as big of a problem as it was before.
Josh.
Oh, I have a lot to say. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. In regards to the initial question, I think both of you guys kind of proved that anime itself has not lost its uniqueness. Talking about delicious, yeah, I'm messing that up, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. And Kaiju number eight, they are the unique ones out of the populace of the mainstream. I personally don't think that anime itself has lost its uniqueness because there's still plenty of people. I just re connected with some people from high school, and they've never seen a single anime, and they have no plans on watching a single anime. They're not hopping on the bandwagon. They still think it's a little weird and it's different. They still have the misconception that we're all weirdos with our hands down our pants watching ecchi and hentai and things like that. And so I don't think it's lost its uniqueness. I do think that the writing has gotten too comfortable. The creativity that it once had, where it was its own little, small genre that wasn't super duper popular here in America, it started losing some of its writing. It started realizing what would sell, not what was well made. Um, I know a lot of people may disagree with this, but I don't really think the storyline for Demon Slayer is all that great. I know a lot of people do genuinely think that Demon Slayer has one of the best storylines out there, and it's one of the best anime, period. And for me, the part of the reason why the anime does so well is because it's heavily carried by the animation value. If there were no fight scenes, I always like to ask this question of, if there were no fight scenes in this anime, would you watch it? And
Nope.
speaking
Well,
honestly,
then it wouldn't be Demon Slayer at that point. It'd be a slice of life.
exactly,
And I do like, and I
exactly.
do watch slice of life, bro. So what you trying to
Yeah.
say? You know what
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. So it's like,
I'm saying?
but that's I feel like that's a big testament to be able to decipher whether it is actually a good, well-written story or if it's just well-written fighting. And so I feel like we've gotten too comfortable mainstream wise in the anime category. Is it still unique? I do think it is, yes, but I feel like it's gotten kind of lazy and trying to go with the flow of what sells, similar to gaming now. There's a lot of free to play games that are doing the same model, the exact same setup, doing the same set of microtransactions, not because it's what a good game is, but it's because it's what is selling.
Man, you're gonna make the
Mm.
Fortnite kids mad. Better calm down. uh, but no, I mean, I don't know. I feel since being the old head of anime, going through so many eras of anime, there is uniqueness. You do have to find it. Like I said, there are a few mainstream unique ones like Frieren, Kaiju number eight, Delicious Dungeon. Go Go Lose Rangers was getting there, but they skipped so much important details that it sort of made it hard to follow.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think what's the one that I was talking about that we talked about a few weeks ago that you saw the trailer? To Be a Hero X. I think that's going to be another unique one,
Yeah.
animation wise and story wise. Um, because so the plot of that one is that the people who have powers, they can be called they're heroes, but they become heroes because they're so popular that they gain the power of being a hero from popularity. So sort of like
Yep.
the ranking system in My Hero,
Yep.
um, but these people aren't born with gifts; they're sort of bestowed gifts from popularity. And this
Mhm.
dude, Mr. X, has been the number one dude for so long. And I guess his ability from the trailer is to change the world's perspective from 2D to
Yeah,
3D, which is so awesome.
yeah, no, it's crazy.
um, I think that one's gonna be the unique fall one. Alongside Dan and Sakamoto Days is also this fall, right? Or is that am I wrong? Is it next year?
Uh,
Or no, it might be
I
winter.
I think that's winter.
Yeah, might be winter. Um, is it winter? Oh yeah, because I think JJK spring 2025, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
hold on, I gotta look it up now.
Yeah. I don't want to start mixing them all up and everything, but no, I definitely think one of the most unique. Fall's going to be have a lot of unique anime. I think. Let me pull up the list myself. I know we went over it a while ago, but
I mean, I'm gonna keep saying unique to America.
well, even in Japan, I mean, there was nothing.
Well,
There's not really stuff like Free Rent and Delicious in Dungeon.
oh yeah, but in Japan, anime is not like it's not popping in Japan. It's like there it has its times, but like anime itself in Japan is not nearly, not even closely as popular as it is here in America. A lot of people in Japan, if you ask, like just typical citizens, not people who are tourists or people who, live in those specific areas where anime is super popular and is used as, a tourist attraction. A lot of them do just straight up watch very unique, very different, not even anywhere near uh mainstream. Because I have a lot of friends, I have a few friends who are from Japan and go back and forth there once in a while. So it's surprisingly not very popular. It's not a they have their own because you know how we call ourselves otakus
Nah, I don't.
in oh sorry,
No.
how some people in the anime community call themselves otakus. In
Yeah.
Mhm.
America, it means something slightly different than it does in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Otaku in Japan very much is somebody who sits in their room all day, are shut in,
Hmm.
and only read manga and watch anime all day,
Hmm.
and that's literally all. So
Oh,
like
then
Yep.
I am an otaku. Then my fault.
so like, but in Japan, it's seen as like it's not like a slur per se, but it's more like a clear insult of what you would call somebody. You don't want to be that. You don't even want to be related to somebody who's like that. So that's
I
why it's
mean,
Yeah.
like
I mean, here
it's
is it's
mhm,
kind of thrown around as a bit of an insult too sometimes because most people when they throw around the term otaku, they attribute it with someone that's just so obsessed with Japanese culture that they want to be Japanese themselves sometimes.
yeah,
So that's how it's interpreted here sometimes. So it kind of carries the same weight, but just different context, kind of.
yeah.
Believe it.
It's so weird because like here it's Japanese culture, but then there it's purely just and it's like you're obsessed with
Yeah.
manga and anime.
Yeah,
So Sakamoto Days is winter of
yeah,
2025. It comes out
Okay.
in January.
January.
Yeah. But fall is going to have heavy hitters. Blue Lock comes out.
Yes.
To Be a Hero comes out. Well, To Be a
U
Hero X comes out technically. Uh,
Uzumaki.
Uzumaki, yeah. Dan Dan.
Let's go.
Bleach, Thousand Year War,
It's been
Blood at
freaking three
War.
years.
God.
Feels like it's
Oh
been
yeah,
3 years, man.
Shangri-La. Oh
Shangri-La
shoot.
season two. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Season five is ridiculous to
There's
me.
no way that it got so I've listen, I liked that show, season one. I really did. I it was one of those times where I was just going on a super ridiculous anime buff time of just watching whatever for days and weeks on end. That was one of the ones I actually did like. The first season. Second season, and then the third season was like, what are we doing? Why are we around a bunch of, why are we
We're
in a
we're
whorehouse?
milking it. Let's see what else is coming out in fall release. Oh yeah, I forgot my Beastar season three
Oh no.
final season. I love
I
Beastars.
know.
It's such a that was
Beastars
a
is
unique
really
one.
good.
That's
There
a
you go.
unique one
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Beastars is really good.
Um,
Oh, they're bringing back Ranma.
yeah, they're remaking it.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
With newer animation stuff. It's supposed to be good. We'll see.
Interesting. Hmm.
Excuse me, but ooh, but no, I mean, Beastars is really unique and different. I found out it's written by a female, and I guess that's why it's so paced well in a way that it doesn't make it really does blur the slice of life and fight or add an action sequence because that first season had me spun in a good way. Like it was so like well paced, and then you get to a certain point where it does shifts its dynamic, and you're like, oh, this isn't just a lovey dovey furry kind of thing. Like it's an actual like
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
slice of life fight anime kind of thing, and I don't even know what's going on, but I want to know more.
Yeah, because
Uh,
the fun fact about that one, the author, she is the daughter of the creator of Baki,
yep.
which I thought always thought was really cool, and I it took me a while to actually figure that out. Once I did, I was like, that's cool because she actually has interviews where she talks about like the conversation she would have with her father about making manga, and like
hmm
he was kind of against it at first, of course, but then once she started getting her role going, I guess he became more supportive, seeing that she was being successful with it.
And Moonrise is coming out in the fall. I hope so. It's another Netflix exclusive anime that I think is really going to be unique. It's set, I think, on the moon. I can't remember if it's on the moon or Earth, and we go to the moon to do like some kind of fight. Um, it's been so long since I saw the trailer, but I forgot that's coming out. Uh, and then I think that's everything. Or Dragon Ball Daimo, which I know they finished the first season, but it's going to be kind of weird to see
I'm
how they.
s- yeah, I mean, I'm still interested
Skeptical.
seeing it, but like it's also Dragon Ball's in a super weird place right now with licensing. And so
Mhm.
like I think this is like the only thing Dragon Ball other than the game that we're gonna see for like a while right now.
Yeah. Also, the new Terminator anime on Netflix is coming out
Oh, that's
soon.
What?
right.
Yeah, Terminator Zero, being done by Production IG, who did Haiku and Ghost in the Shell.
Which is
Okay,
gonna be
that
Uh,
might
good.
not be too bad.
That's gonna
but
be good.
the Terminator in that one is being voiced by Timothy Olyphant, who I really like as an actor. So I want to see if it's how it's going to be done. But the director is Bleach's director, Kudo. Um, so they
It'll
also,
probably be good enough then.
yeah, and they also have the guy that wrote the Batman alongside Matt Reeves. It was not Matt Reeves, but the guy who wrote Batman with him as the writer for the show as well. So I'm hoping that I have high hopes for it a good way. If it bombs, at least they tried, but I
Yeah.
want to watch it. And
It'll
then
take some
there's
convincing for me. Just after the Suicide Squad anime, it's gonna take me a little to
that's different
convince.
because that's
I
WB
know.
being stupid.
Like that was just
But
the fight scenes were cool, but everything else.
they're also doing a Lara Croft Netflix
Oh,
anime.
I'm even more skeptical. Please don't ruin
Nah,
Laura Croft. Please
nah.
don't ruin Laura Croft.
I mean, the Angelina Jolie movies almost ruined it. So,
I
uh,
know. Almost though. She was at least pretty, you know?
but this one is set. I think is being done with Square, Square Enix. Yeah, because they're the ones
Yeah,
that recently
Square.
had it. I
Oh,
think Square
okay.
Enix is helping with it, at least the writing portion. So I think it's gonna be well written. The animation looks really well. I don't know who's doing it, but it comes out October. But Haley Atwell, who plays Carter in the Avengers, the British lady,
Mhm.
Captain Britain, she's voicing Laura Croft. So let's see how that goes as well. Um, what other? Is there anything else that came out or is coming out? Not coming out. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff we're probably not going to watch.
I'm gonna play that
So,
game today then.
what game?
Lord, I'm gonna play Tomb Raider.
Oh, that Tomb Raider. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's anything really coming out yet. That's yeah. This is talking about next year's anime. Um, but no. Sorry for going off track there, but like I said, I do think there's uniqueness in anime. You just got to find it. Majority of the mainstream ones are going to be formulaic, unfortunately. So you do have to sort of go for the not usual or not most really talked about ones. That's not going to say that mainstream ones can't be unique. Because, like we said, Free Ren, Delicious in Dungeon, Kaiju number 8, were all examples of super hyped up ones that were unique and mainstream at the same time. Um, but moving from there, let's all go to our experience at DreamCon 2024. Um, there were highs and there were lows. There was a lot of logistical issues that should have been, I'm not going to say should have been completely handled, but should have been sort of foreseen to begin with.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the biggest issues was the way they were letting the biggest issue was lines and how they sort of patrolled the lines for events or just to get into the building to begin with. Because that first day, we was outside for what 2.5 hours in a line. Then right when they start opening the doors, they tell us to move to another location to stand in
Yeah.
another line.
And then just to bum rush through the doors
Yeah,
to get in and then get into more lines to get through security. So it's just like it didn't really make much sense.
and them only having two or three metal detectors per door or per section. Nah, son, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
no, you
crazy.
need to like expand it out because people were really pushing each other trying to
Mhm.
get through that damn door.
So that was outside. So we out now heat. Thankfully we had that the Bang Energy sponsor girl come by and hand out drinks because that was
Yeah.
refreshing.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
that was helpful.
um, but no, so first day, um, from my point of view, I'm gonna say my point of view because we all had different point of view. We all have different point of views in different situations. So for me, getting there and waiting in a line, then being told to move, finally get inside the building, have to go through security checkpoint, obviously go through that, boom, boom. Finally get in and trying to find the locations of everything. Yes, there was a map on the app, but it wasn't really like you're in this section, you're this section. It's like here's the layout, go find it
Mhm.
whatever cool I can read. I can look up at the walls or the doors and see what is what. We're going and we walk to the section where we finally get to the main stage. And the main stage, the first event, I'm pretty sure was supposed to open up at 1 instead of 2 o'clock. I thought the opening ceremony was supposed to be at 1 o'clock, not 2 o'clock.
Well, because I
It
think
was one.
everything had conflicting information because it didn't
Yeah.
start until like two, but the
To
app said two, but you said you saw something that said one. So
yeah.
it was just really confusing.
And I wasn't the only one that thought it said 1 because everybody bum rushed straight to the stage to begin with instead of
Hmm.
going anywhere else. Um, and there was two lines, one for premium badge holders, which I'll let Josh speak, explain his situation and experience with the premium badge. And then there was me and Creed in the bummy line, the regular people line.
The bummy
Um,
line is crazy.
but no, we got there. We went straight to, as soon as the door opened, we went straight to that line. And we were
Hmm.
still like number 30th or 40th in the line, which is
Yeah, we
crazy.
were, yeah.
And we got there and went straight to it. And this is 2 hour, well, about an hour and a half before
Hmm.
it supposedly opened. So we're waiting this line. They're using barricades and tape on the floor.
Yeah, that
Uh, um, but no, so the way this is positioned, there's the main stage in front of you, and to the right was the bummy line, and it literally goes from entrance of it, snakes to a corner, then snakes down a little bit, and snakes again down the exhibit halls and everything, or the conference halls, because the exhibit hall is the other side technically.
hmm.
Um, and that line was forever long. People are going in, letting their friends come in, cut in line, everything like that. You know, whatever. These had to be an RSVP situation, so we thought, hey, we RSVP, we don't have to worry about if people are jumping in, whatever. People get caught or get thrown, taken out, or whatever. There's a dude standing right there near the front of the line, anyways, that's supposed to be monitoring this. He was a volunteer staff. I get it. You're a volunteer staff. There's only a certain level of care you're gonna have, cool, whatever. But there was another staffer lady going by, talking, laying out a law, doing everything. That's cool. She kicked some people to the line that supposedly cut. It was behind us. We didn't see. We don't know. Not snitching on
Hmm.
nobody.
Yeah.
Um, but once this line finally does move and we go up to the scanning section or anything like that, there's they tell us like, oh, there's three lines, separate them, getting these lines and everything like that to get your scanner, make it go quicker. Didn't help at all. People were still holding up because they didn't RSVP, so they're just holding up the scanner. And people were like, "Oh, I swear I got this. Let me try again. Let me try again. Scan it again." Holding up the line, whatever. After 3 or 4 attempts, instead of being like, "Nah, you didn't RSVP," whatever, they're like, "Okay, just go in." What was the point of us having to wait on our computers for an hour and a half, 2 hours to RSVP something? Whatever. It's the opening ceremony. You want to get as many people in, obviously, because they have cameras in there. They want to make it look as big as possible or feel as possible.
Mm.
Understandable. But that was every event. And that is ridiculous to make people RSVP and then just let people freely in to the event. Why make the RSVP to begin with? I understand that, yeah, there is a fire code and there's a person limit, but you obviously don't care because you're just letting people in.
Mm.
So fuck it at that point. Um, so we go in, the opening ceremony is cool, we're having fun, whatever, enjoying it, blah blah blah. For some reason, I don't know why they thought to literally have the open ceremony and then the Berlizzi Speakeasy podcast be like right after it, because only like I'd say probably 5% of people left, and I bet you like still about 70 or 80% of those people didn't have an RSVP for that event whatsoever.
Oh no, not at all.
So that's kind of crazy. Um, so that's the opening
Oh, sorry, I just
2 hours.
remembered. I just realized the speakeasy part. Um, I found out about that the day of. The opening ceremony was connected or congealed on the
Yeah,
Yep.
website with it. So
Yeah.
the opening ceremony was scheduled from the time it started to then the end of the speakeasy part.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
it was even that process of having to be RSVP'd for the speakeasy portion didn't make sense considering that the opening ceremony was going to lead into it, period,
yep,
Yeah.
whether you went to it or not.
yeah. Which is like I said, it's stupid because like most people just stayed in their seats and just took up space, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the I want to say I'm gonna do that as a block. That's the opening, technically the opening 4 hour block. Because that was from us being outside to the speakeasy, which ended at 4, because it started at opening ceremony started at
3:30?
2. It was 3:30 maybe,
About 3:30. Yeah.
because it was over an hour ish.
Yeah, they had a
Um,
time limit. They stayed over an hour only
Mm.
because Berlin
yeah,
said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're having my meet and greet over in this specific hall right after this. So if you wanna come do that."
Yeah. The
yeah.
bum rush after that.
The bum rush was crazy.
Yeah, that was
Um,
insane.
But that was my point of view from the opening, from the before the opening to the first two big events. I want to pass it on to one of you to talk about your experience and perspective from the first 4 hours.
I
I
would
will
say this
talk
can go over
last.
to, well, I was gonna say this can go over to you because considering that we were both together at those
Yeah,
events and stuff, yeah, so we really would have had the same experiences. So I don't think there would have been anything varying from what he said for me.
Okay, that's fair. Uh, Premium did and did not matter. I'll say this for I'll say that for now and get into it a little bit later when we're past I'll say past day two. But the only reason I got into the opening ceremony was because of the fact that by the grace of God, opening ceremony just opened. The RSVP just randomly opened while I was in the middle of line. I got in line to double check because the premium badge is $164 additional dollars on top of the $100 weekend plus badge. You have to get the weekend plus badge in order to get the premium.
Mm.
So 164 plus. And so I'm like, I spent the additional money, but the RS there was first off, there was way too many random rumors about what premium was getting from people who were not premium badge holders.
Mhm.
There was no early check-in, there was no none of that. Premium badge holders had the option for select main stage areas to get early access. Premium badge holders did not get early access to RSVP. Everyone had to RSVP at the exact same time, and premium badge holders maybe had one extra thing that they could RSVP for, not the three people were saying that that we had. But again, by the grace of God, some way, somehow, a spot just opened at random for opening ceremony, and I was able to get that spot. But if I did not, more than likely, despite spending the 164 extra, I would not have been let in on the premium side. So the first 4 hours, me having the premium badge didn't make much of a difference besides Lord making it happen and me getting prime seating, which kind of prime, kind of not, because there was another section that was for press and family. So we got cool and front row seating. So that was well, not front, I'll say front section seating. So that was pretty much the primary plus you get from getting that premium for that first 4 hours was getting that prime seating if you have an RSVP, which you have to wait with everybody else to get in the first place.
Yeah, I really do feel bad for people who did the premium badges being sort of robbed. I'm not saying that jokingly or anything, because really you spent pretty much a whole nother ticket price to not get really any advantage in any situation. Yeah, yeah, you could some events you could get in early, but most of the time they weren't even letting that happen. So it was kind of pointless. Um, they would let you in, like if you had a premium badge, you would get in like maybe 10 minutes earlier than us, or they would scan your badge first and let you walk into
That
the
was the
some of
thing. I forgot all about that too.
yeah.
The very first hour. Firstly, I went there last year, so they had a very specific line set up last year. They changed the setup, and there was a whole other section of lines as when they moved you guys. I was already having to be pushed over there because there was a separate premium line that was just gonna be pushing the other line back over, which made zero sense, but whatever. Um, we didn't even get in first. I remember you guys sent me a message saying they opened the doors and people were rushing in. Y'all got in before I did.
Which was so crazy to me because even if you go to their website now or on the app, it literally says per day that the premium badge holders get to go in an hour before everybody else
Yeah, that did not happen. Literally,
at
you
all.
guys got in before I did. And you know
Mm-mm-mm.
what's funny? What's even worse about it? We were all more organized and more willing to be patient on the premium side than anyone else on the other side was. I know it's a shorter line, but our premium line still wrapped around the building too. People are always talking about there wasn't a lot of premium badges. No, I turned around behind me and that line wrapped to the other side of the building as well. Yet no one
Mm.
had any problems. No one was tripping. Nobody was having any issues. Everybody was in their single file straight part of the line. And when they saw all those people running in, nobody complained on the premium side. We took our time. We were content, despite the fact that there was a hot mess where the foolishness going on the other, literally on the other side of where the line was at. So it was like, and
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was saying the fact that everyone who spent the additional money had the same consensus of this don't make any sense, but we're being patient about it, I think says a heck of a lot more than it should.
So the only reason why our end did the bum rush and everything is because legit, Creed and I were waiting in this line for 2 to 2.5 hours at one
Mm.
section. And this was even close to the entrance or anything like that. This was still we would still have to walk around the corner of the building and walk up probably another 100 feet or so before we got in.
Yeah.
But the fact that we waited 2.5 hours and then the security guy's like, "No, you guys have to move to this other line,"
Mhm.
and he's like, "Come here, follow me," and he guides us to the end of another line that was wrapped around in another long ass serpentine line.
I'd be
No,
pissed too.
we were pissed. So yeah, we
Yeah.
we said no, we standing here, but we're going right in when they open the door.
Yeah.
And then this volunteer dude who's like 115 pounds, like he was gonna be a big boy and try to line up and like tell us how to. Nah, we. I was in there fullback mode. I was in there just walking.
Oh yeah, no,
I just walked past people. That's
Oh
the
yeah, no, I
advantage. That's
lost
the
this man for a
investment he
bit.
made. And I look back, I was like, "You were supposed to be following me." He's like, "I have short legs." Nah, son.
I didn't say short legs. I said I'm just short in general.
Oh, I'm over here making a pass for you so you can run this full spread over here. And yeah, man, it's I formation, man. I formation. You're supposed to just follow along.
See, I had camera gear on me. I wasn't trying to be reckless.
I had camera gears on my back too. Don't make no excuses.
Well, mine was on my chest. People were bumping into it and it was pissing me off.
But no, it was crazy because like they was really gonna make his way in that line and follow that line all the way through. No, I was like, nah, I have to make
Well,
this way and then making its move.
I
Yeah,
want
they
to
should have
think,
just made it to where y'all go. Because there's two entrances. They should have just let y'all. It also would have alleviated that whole idea of too many people and going in one area because if you open the doors on opposite opposing sides, that means there's two separate lines, right, for general admission, and you can let all of them in a more, I guess you could say, flow state kind of entryway. You have people going in on this side, people going in on this side, and it fills in from the sides to the middle, right? Having everybody
Oh,
sit that one section was just kind of like,
no, there was actually they were opening doors on all four sides of the building.
oh, but so why did I
Um,
need to move? That makes no sense.
because where we were was by the back entrance
Yeah. Yeah,
carport.
I was gonna say
Um,
because where we were, it was like that's where like the talent and stuff were coming in into the center. So I think that's part of the reason why they moved us specifically, because I think it was everyone after that spot they got
yeah,
moved to the other entrance. So
but they made us wait 2.5 hours before we
yeah.
got, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
the
no, that's
issue.
yeah, exactly.
Because it was hot at the balls. Um, the funniest thing that we saw was when RDC's cameraman Chris was trying to go in, and the lady at the parking lot, parking port was like trying to take the name, like getting the person's name to make sure they were allowed to park there. And
Hmm.
Chris is like explaining like who he is and stuff. And then she looks down at her clipboard, and when she looks down at the clipboard, he does the motion, like, bro, I was like, this dude was emoting so big, you could see that from about 40 feet away. And I'm like, yo, he's about to just get out this car and beat up somebody who's just doing their job.
Yeah, you could
Um,
tell he was just done with it. Oh, that poor
well, you know
man.
how messed up it would have been if they forgot to put him on the list.
Oh yeah, they had to turn him away? No, that'd be
God, I would have been,
awful.
nah, I would have just drove in and be like,
Oh
you gonna have to grab
man.
me. Nah. But no, so first 4 hours, blah 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 happens. Then we get some time to just walk around and do whatever we want to. Little did we know how small the inside of this building was, that walking
Mm,
was literally just doing a football drill as well. Because
yeah.
you just had to charge in and bump people and stuff like that. Because people like, I here's the thing. I love cosplay. I love admiring cosplay. I love when people do cosplay. I like looking at it and everything like that. Move over to the side. Stop
Mm.
blocking the middle. If you want to stop somebody, like, hey, I like that. Can we take a picture over here or over here? Not like, hey, can I get your picture and just block the middle of this whole man? I wanted to hit people so bad when I was there.
See,
Um,
and that's like part of the reason why I didn't take as many pictures as I wanted to, because when you did find spots, you either had to be in the way or you had to actually put an effort to try to find a spot off to the side to not interrupt people. And I just didn't want to deal with that.
See, I thought about that, and being there on Sunday and there being less people and me just freely walking around instead of worrying about panels and stuff like that. Because I literally just canceled everything I had on Sunday. I just went and spent pretty much the whole day in the D&D room. But I walked the floor for a little bit to see people. What we should have done is where they had that Dreamcon wall strip for like the 10
Mm,
foot. We should have just stood there for a little bit and got people's picture. But the biggest lesson I think I learned from this convention is to not worry about getting into the big events as much as meeting the community and just hanging out and having fun and just bullshitting. Because all the
yeah.
content from the convention that I've seen was so much more engaging and fun than the panels I went to. Not saying the panels weren't fun, weren't engaging, weren't interesting. A lot of them were very informative. Some of them were really good and helpful.
Mm.
I appreciated those, but the big stage event ones, I mean, it was all right. Like the Speakeasy
Jeopardy.
podcast was fine. Um,
Jeopardy. I
yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Like,
Oh
I really
man.
did like the Speakeasy podcast. It was cool to see their dynamic, but I mean, it's just like every three-man podcast like us. We just talk and then goof off and stuff like that. Nothing really
Mm,
special besides them already having an established name and then getting a bigger stage to do it. Um, which is great. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome. They have stories to tell. They actually tell really good stories. They have great chemistry. They've been together for years. Um, my issue is that I probably spent 12 hours standing in line, and that's 12 hours I could have spent being out there with people, meeting
yeah.
people, talking to people, just seeing stuff, like just enjoying,
Mm,
just embracing a convention. Um, but for some reason in my mind, I thought it was more uh pivotal, not pivotal, that's not the right word, more uh it was more, I don't know, I can't remember the word I'm looking for, but it was more important for me to be in that line going to the event than just,
Higher priority.
yeah, higher priority, yes. Like
Mhm.
it would have just been cool to just talk to people. Like literally, like I think the most fun we had was literally when we was just walking around goofing off and just talking,
Yeah.
and then randomly running into content creators that were just walking around the floor and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But that was the biggest lesson. Next year, I'm not going to prioritize there. It'll prioritize. I'm not prioritizing big events. I'm prioritizing community connection because there were so many people, even in the Discord or the Dreamcon Discord, that were there that were like, "Oh, wish I would have, been spend more time doing this or this or this." And then there was people like, me and my friends just spent the whole time walking. We had so much fun." And they show all the pictures of everybody there, man. I was like, man, that could have been us, but we had to be
Yeah.
on. We had to go to them panels in our minds. But no, and the biggest to me, the biggest issue, DreamCon wise, not personal wise, because the personal wise, like I said, was me prioritizing the events than walking around. Biggest DreamCon issue was the logistical mishaps and slip ups. Like the line, we talked about the line issues where people were just cutting it into the matter or whatever. And then even if you didn't RSVP, we're still able to get in the event, just ruining people's time and taking up space. Um, and then um, people are like, well, what would have been a way to fix it? And some people said, oh, hire more staff or more security, whatever. Cool, you do that. That means you got to raise the ticket prices, event prices, everything like that
But
to
not only
Yeah.
that,
pay the
though,
people. Uh-huh.
I had somebody who I went to high school with, and she was working it. She left saying, I will not ever work for them again. F all them creators, F that entire set of people. So the
Yeah,
staff portion has to be, it
go ahead.
has to feel like work, but it has to, at the very least, accommodate in some way to the staff so that they, at the very least, want to do it again.
Well, that's always my thing. As some of the cons that I go to here and I talk to a lot of the con runners and volunteers and stuff like that, I always try to understand like the way to run a convention at any level or how you handle um who gets to do what and everything like that, and how you just handle it, management overall. And a lot of the people that who are just staffers or volunteers that enjoy it are the ones that like they get a block schedule of like you're going to be with this person for this amount of time, or you're going to be at this spot for this portion of time. They want to give you an equal amount of time to just be out there and enjoy the event. And then, you're going to get another block of time where you're going to do this. Like it's an on off thing. But I saw a lot of these people pretty much just working the whole day. Like they didn't get time to do anything else. And yeah, that's their
Mm.
job, but also give them time to
Lisa.
not to be working. Like give them time to do something. Because they was a lot of them were just standing there for hours. And that's ridiculous. They were standing
Yeah.
longer than we was. Them 2 hour lines were bugging me. I was getting so mad and my feet were hurting. I was thinking these people had to do this all day long. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do all that. I mean, I commend them for, lasting that long with it and sticking out with that, but I couldn't see myself doing it.
And I heard that, and there was also a lot of events or panels that weren't managed right either. Wasn't consistent, wasn't didn't start on time, wasn't really worth the whole RSVP and from just people that were talking about other events. Because yeah, Jeopardy started late and was only 30 minutes long, if that.
Yeah.
Well, the video they posted was 31 minutes long. It wasn't that long. I don't feel like it was that long. It was just mishandled. Kev on stage was a host. He didn't know anything that was going on, didn't know the rules, didn't know what was going on. The judges for Jeopardy didn't know what was going on either, which was wild to me.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm gonna say right here, the winners were what Leland and Caleb, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But the actual winners were Dylan and Tony. They actually
Mm.
would have had. I rewent and watched it again for some reason. Maybe in my head it was different than what I actually felt like I saw. But no, it was just as bad watching it again as experiencing it the first time. But the Dylan and Tony got 300 points taken off for them for no reason. It was added on, but they never got the actual 300 points for their real score, so they would have been up the whole time. I
Yeah.
think I think if I did the math correct, it would have been Dylan and Tony would have been 100 points ahead of Leland and Caleb, and Leland and Caleb were 100 points ahead of Desmond and Dante, and Mark and Swoozy were non-factors at
Yeah, I
all.
don't know what the hell they were doing. They were sitting there playing up as their buttons weren't working, and also I was like, nah, you just slow.
They were just low, but the thing, Tony and Dylan were hitting the button as the question, like as soon as the question was done, they was hitting the button, like they didn't even.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just missing. Yeah, it is RDC being RDC, but there needs to be a little bit more coordination and organization on all fronts. I mean, Ben and Af literally had to come on stage and try to help out and organize things because it was just not handled well at all.
Mm.
Um, what else was it? Apparently, the AMP Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader started late because the surprise guest, Sexy Red, came late to the event and
An
literally,
hour and 15 minutes late.
yeah.
Damn.
So they literally just stalled that whole time just to have what like a 20-minute event at that point. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like it I understand you're going for oh, you got a huge surprise name out of nowhere, and it was Sexy Red. Like, even people on the Discord were like, why would you, out of all people, bring her? Like, yeah, everybody wanted Meg Thee Stallion, and it was not going to be able to happen because she was in DC she was in Washington, DC the next day doing her tour and everything like that. So it's going to be hard logistically to get her back and forth. Yeah, you could
Mm.
have fly her in, have her do like an event or something, and fly her back out. It would not have been worth the cost. But everybody's like, why would you bring in Sexy Red as as the sort replacement for Meg Thee Stallion? Like, y'all could have gotten bigger name, or I guess somebody more upfront in the community for what the event is instead of her, because a lot of people were not feeling her apparently at the event, even at that event. And apparently AMP didn't like having to like coordinate with her either. So that's
Oh
kind of bad.
wow.
So
I mean,
Damn.
they chose a random big name
yeah.
that's
And
popular now that has no
yeah, it was not.
connection to anime or nerdage, at least as her public persona, has no
Yeah.
connection to anime or nerdage in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, it was not popping. People said who were at the event that it just felt weird off. It did not feel like they felt like it could have been somebody, like they could have brought in somebody else in the community, even just I'm not gonna say like a smaller name, but like
Man, they could
uh
have brought Yuji Itadori's voice actor and people would have been more hyped for that.
well, yeah, that's different. That's JJK.
No, no.
I mean, they could have actually had more voice. They could have had voice actors there, more voice actors, to be honest. There was like a couple, but I
To
mean,
be honest, I'm shocked that there even were any in the first place because I
yeah,
don't you don't see them advertised really.
no, which was crazy to me. But they could have just brought in people from the community or big name, or heck, if you're gonna bring in somebody who's musically, you're gonna bring just a music guest who's not in the anime sphere or something like that. They literally had Dreamville there, so why not bring one of them
Oh yeah.
onto the stage? Like it didn't even have to be J. Cole or Jid or anything. Like you could have brought in anybody else, Earth Gang, on there to do something. And
Bring Usher in his Gojo cosplay.
whoa, hey, whoa,
Oh my
calm
gosh,
it
I
down,
hated when he
calm it
did
down,
that.
calm it down, sir. You about to be dancing in the rain here in a second. Calm it down.
Daddy's home.
uh, but no, like I said, I feel like there was they swung for the fences a lot. Some things hit, some things really didn't. Like I said, a logistical thing. The layout of the place wasn't very uh I'm not going to say that it wasn't well like laid out, but there was just a lot of things that were far from each other that were back to back to back. Like I said, on Sunday I canceled all my stuff because I would have had to have gone through the sixth floor of the hotel and then come down to the first floor of the convention center, back to the sixth or the fourth floor of the hotel, back to like the second floor of the. It was just like a lot of like back to back to back, and like that's crazy. Like the layout was not very well done. Also, the communication was horrendous in all aspects. From
What
before,
communication?
yeah, exactly. From the before the event, before the convention and everything, like nobody knew about the YouTube lounge thing specifically, like the
Mm.
a special events. So many people were asking when was this said, or how did you get qualified for this, or this and this and this. I'm like, hey, y'all asking the dude who's asking the same exact question.
Yeah.
Um, and then it's like it's bad when so many people who are in within your literal Discord slash community don't know anything that's going on or didn't know things were happening or this or that. Like it was just not enough communicate. There was no communication or there was no and proper and what's the word I'm looking for? Clear or concise communication.
Hmm.
Um, it really felt like people found out things day of or after they had happened, um, which really sucked because I mean, the fact that YouTube was literally doing specific YouTube exclusive closed panels with people is crazy to me that nobody knew about that except for like apparently like 70 or 80 people that got the wristbands, which is like 1% really of people that knew about it, I guess, uh,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Also, the weird job scavenger hunt thing wasn't explained well
I
at all either.
That made no sense because when we had it, because you actually spoke to someone about it,
Yeah,
didn't you?
the
And like
Nintendo
it,
person.
yeah, and like I met her in the line. I did
Yeah,
one of the scan things, and I got that patch, and I know you got it too. But
yeah.
like, there wasn't real information on how that worked because when I read it online, and how I took it was that around the convention center as you're doing your stuff, there will be QR codes and stuff here and there that you will scan, and that will be for the scavenger hunt. But
Yeah.
like there was nothing. And there's nothing that really told you online how to even participate,
Mm-mm.
or there wasn't anything that just gave more information on how that worked. It was just like, this is what we're doing. You're welcome to enjoy that part of it, but there was nothing else.
Like I went and we looked for the YouTube one because we even went up
Mm,
to the YouTube Lounge one,
yeah.
but they didn't even have it there. And like I was like, okay. And then we looked around for a QR code somewhere, everywhere, like nothing. So like that's kind of crazy that they were one of the people. Some was like, are they for the exclusive people, which is kind of stupid that they get a leg up on people over just because we didn't know about it. Like
Mm.
it was just a weird situation overall. Um, there was there was that situation. The communication was bad. The logistics is just like how the lines were mishandled. Um, the panels weren't like the security for the panels wasn't done right either. There was just that stuff. But overall, there were still fun moments. There were still great things going on. Like I said, I got to meet some content creators that I like and got to actually you know, take a picture with them or even talk to them some on Sunday, like real quick. I was very non-camera for the weekend, which is weird to me. I don't know why. I felt like there wasn't going to be enough for me to go and get content, which really was true because most of the time I spent was in line, which was, like I said, was stupid. Um, but no, biggest issue for me, number one, was the House of Highlights basketball fiasco,
Hmm.
um, which so many people got so mad about it. Like it was not just me, or it was such a huge portion of people. Um, So the situation was like every year, House of Highlights and Dreamcon team up and do basketball and dodgeball and basketball. Dodgeball wasn't that big of an issue. It was a smaller court, so there was more people, more chairs, so more people could get in. Basketball, the floor is bigger, and there's a lot more stuff have going around the side, so there's less room for people to get in. House of Highlights was a RSVP event. So you had to, have an RSVP, which we already talked about. The RSVP didn't matter, but people still held on hope that, when somebody got scanned and they didn't have RSVP, they got kicked out, which apparently some people did, from what I heard. So they were actually upholding that, thankfully. The issue was the industry people were people they were technically part of the sponsors, but they were people who were working the events from those sponsors, like Twitch, Nintendo, YouTube, Chili's. so forth and stuff like that. They were just there. They were there. They yes, they paid money to be there. They were sponsors, so they paid to be there as well. But also, they're sponsors. Cool. I understand wanting to go watch the events. Nothing against that. But when you literally bring your wife, two kids, your mom, your aunt, uncle, and nephew to the event and take up five, six, seven spots, I wanted to call bullshit on that. I don't care how much you
Mm.
paid. We paid as well. We are literally the fans. We paid as well. Y'all paid one giant lump sum for being there and you got your space. You guys were making money technically at that point. We weren't. We were losing money.
Yep.
So for you to take up people's time and money is unforgivable. And they didn't address this shit at all. They just acted like it never happened. It was not a word about it. There was no, we're sorry, we're gonna make it up, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And that right there pisses me off more than anything. I go to conventions consistently. If shit like this happened on a lesser stage or another convention, it would get handled or talked about or something. I literally went to a convention where I'm not going to say the voice actor's name, but he voices a popular anime character in a long running series.
I know what you're talking about.
He is known for getting pissy, having an attitude, having an ego, and leaving events super
Mm.
early. Well, at the event I was at the convention I was at, he did that. He was supposed to be there at 8 a.m., didn't get there till noon, stayed till 2, was supposed to leave at 5. So he didn't even fill out his obligations, still took the money, whatever. But the issue is I know people who were my age or older specifically went to go to this person because that anime was popular during my youth. It's still popular now in the series that it's in, but it was the big one for us growing up. So getting to meet this person who doesn't go to many events because a lot of people don't want to deal with him anymore. Um, just facts at this point. So when he does go, and in my area, well, in the area that it was held at, it's still an hour away from me, but there's only two conventions a year in the city, which is stupid to me because it's a giant college city. It's going to make bang. I'm going to talk to people about more events there. But this guy shows up for 2.5 so-ish hours, leaves pissy, doesn't show up for the next day. It's a 2-day event, only there for a few hours, took his whole weekend payout, which is crazy to me. I would have sued the shit out of him.
Mm.
But this dude leaves and pissy, and people literally waste their time to come out. The that day it had rained that morning. It wasn't hard rain, but it had rained that morning. So we were waiting outside for a couple hours, so it sucked regardless. We were wet, frustrated, and then dudes just going to do that, not show up on time. So his line is long as shit. People were just going to wait in his line, and that's it. They thought he would be showing up a few minutes late. People waited hours. Some people didn't get to talk to him. Some people didn't get to see him. They literally wasted their whole day. That one specific day, it was a Saturday. There was other guests that were only there for Saturday, and some of them were not going to be there Sunday. So these people wasted their chance to go out here just because they didn't know whether or not they could leave line and have a chance to meet this person, give them their money to have a picture, an autograph, voice recording, whatever it is. And I think that's ridiculous. So that convention said, "We are sorry for this situation. This will not happen again." They refunded people the whole day's pricing pretty much. So it was a 2-day event. You got 50% of your money back. Even if you were there all day and you got to see them, they refunded the majority of the people 50% of their money back, which was crazy to me. So they took a loss
Jeez.
because of this one dude being that. Now you're telling me Dreamcon that had, well, we're going to say 50,000 plus people. You're not going to address this situation because it was the industry people. So y'all want to, I get it. Be cool with your sponsors. Stand on that shit. Don't disappoint your fans. Don't disrespect your fans. Don't make it seem like shit didn't happen when shit happened, and happened because people put on blast on social media.
Mm.
Y'all were targeted or not targeted. Y'all were tagged, and y'all know what happened. It's crazy to me. But to really be like, act like it didn't happen and not say anything, not come forward or being like, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this to make changes or anything like that. Crazy. And yeah, you're not going to be at the same convention center next year. Cool. Wherever you're going to hold this convention next year, get your shit in order. If y'all need help, ask. Literally ask people who run huge events how they make that shit happen. Talk to San Diego Comic Con people. Talk to Dragon Con people. They handle tens of thousands of people as well. Yeah, their lines are ridiculously long. They get that shit flowing. So y'all
Yeah.
need to figure that out. That's crazy to me. New York Comic Con, same thing. They huge events in one giant building, which is crazy to me. They do it all in one building. Um,
Yup.
they get their shit going.
Hmm.
There's long lines, but it doesn't seem like that because they just get shit going. They get stuff moving. So yeah, the comes down to saying like people were saying hire more staff. That's more money per ticket. I'm okay. Like I always say, I'd rather pay more taxes if I know those taxes are actually going to go to something beneficial. I would pay more for a ticket if I know that that ticket is actually going to be what it is worth. And that's why I feel bad for people who got premium because the premium badges didn't mean shit that whole weekend. Y'all were robbed of a whole ticket pretty much at that point. And that's crazy to me that they didn't address those issues whatsoever. Y'all made people pay 150 plus more for for a shiny badge at that point because y'all really didn't get any benefit. So, Josh, you want to talk about the whole premium badge fiasco robbery thing?
Yeah, I can. Uh, so I was one of the people who continued to hold out hope for the majority of the con. I knew from last year, based off of how my experiences went, that I wasn't going to care too much about the main stage events, all that. I wasn't gonna be too super interested in the main stage stuff. It was cool. I went to majority of it last time, but last year, my gold badge that I only spent $50 on had more impact than my premium badge that I spent 150 this year on. And I have a hot take on this, but I feel like even though people say this, that it isn't, I felt like last year was more organized than this year was. People had complaints about it last year, but genuinely going last year, the only reason it felt less organized was because people weren't as sure on how the lines worked. But production value was higher. Nobody was late to any of their events at all last year. It was well written. Everything was taken care of. Even Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader with a Easy Gang? They all had their own bits. They all played their own set of characters specifically for that panel. Family Feud was perfect, was almost very borderline perfectly organized. There was no lack of order when it came to the panels themselves. It was simply the experience of walking around. But for me, I kind of expected it to be that way because there was such a huge influx of people. I'm like, I'm just going to get in where I can fit in. And somehow, in some way, it felt more orderly than it did this year. Um, but in regards to the premium badges, they were decoration, as Roger pointed out. Very simply put, they were decoration. I waited until Sunday to figure out whether I was going to truly see whether the money I spent was worth it or not. And I got into maybe 2 events total that they let me in because I had a premium badge. And both events I had RSVP for. I tested on Sunday on the closing on not it wasn't for Family Feud to see if they would let me in despite not having an RSVP. There was nobody in the premium line because they actually that was the only event that they actually let people in an hour early in for premium badge holders. And a big red screen popped up on her thing. She asked for another QR code. I gave her another one. She said, "No, you can't get in." I'm like, okay, cool. And so that's the moment, because that Sunday when I realized it did not matter that I didn't have, that I spent 100, I spent exactly $164.65 for the additional premium badge. And I got into 2 events premium in comparison to everybody else. And one of them I could not get into despite spending the 164 additional dollars. Now, a part of the reason why a lot of people did not complain was because of this. Half the people who had premium badges got them for free because last year they did apologize and then gave people a refund for the lack of order and for the fact that the people who did spend the additional money did not get what they paid for. So half of the people who are in premium lines that I also saw again this year that I met last year got their badges for free. I met a couple who got their badges for free because they did not get what they paid for. And so half of them were not complaining because it was free for them. But the other half, like me, who it was not free for, we didn't. And so that whole fiasco, and the fiasco, the part that made it more frustrating was there was such a lack of information on what we could actually do and could not do con wise. Like they gave a list of what we had access to, but they did not explain in depth what it meant. They said select main stage things. So what select main stage events? What if I don't have premium for the side pants for the side events, but some side events, tell me which side events are they? Are they? One of the events I went to was the YouTube host for all the women talking about their experience as being Black women and being in the content creation space on YouTube, and that wasn't main stage. It was in a big room, but it was on the second floor. It wasn't a main stage thing. So it's like, but I got premium access to that. So I was like, where is the specification for what is premium and what is not? And better yet, if I'm spending $164 additional, I should get premium access to wherever the heck I want to go. It shouldn't be select main stage, right? You can limit me to like things that are exclusive to people who have YouTube bans or whatever else. If I'm spending, as Roger and Peter pointed out, more than $50 more than a base ticket on top of the base ticket, I should be able to go into any line, wherever, and either skip the line or be in my own premium. That's also why I say last year it felt more organized and felt more catered to everyone, because I was able to do that last year. With my $50 gold badge, I was able to show the people in the front, hey, this is my badge. And they let me go all the way through to the front of the line. Whether I was there on time or whether I was late, didn't matter. That's how I met Berlin, PG, Joe. That's how I met all of them last year, because I showed my badge. It's like, hey, you good? I showed everybody in line my badge. They said you good. They let me go forward. That's what made sense. And I only spent $50 on that badge last time. So that's the main portion for that whole fiasco part. And then the other half was so many people were trying to tell people who did not have premium badges were trying to tell people who did have them what they could and could not do. There were so many random rumors going on about what was, what is not, and it was confusing me more, so much so that I avoided talking about having a premium badge to anybody who did not have one. Because everybody was trying to tell me this, everybody was trying to tell me that. I'm like, I'm not seeing these emails. Even that whole exclusive get together that they said that premium badge holders had, that wasn't a thing. That was something completely random that had nothing to do with having a premium badge. And it was a random QR code that they sent to a select set of people, and if those select set of people got it, they did their thing. If they got accepted, they got accepted. But there was a whole meetup with RDC at Chili's on Thursday with a select set of people from Dreamcon, and nobody had a clue about it. I only found out about it because somebody I knew had a premium badge and was talking about it. I'm like, I'm confused. I didn't get any of this email. So it wasn't even about premium badge. It was just a select set of people who were chosen for it. So there was so much disorder in the actual post-production process rather than the actual production process. Because as you guys said, Family Feud was terrible. Jeopardy was terrible.
Yeah.
So many of the main stage events were terrible. And people can say that there was more order and organization lines wise and where you could and could not go, but that does not mean there's order. It just means they locked it down on certain sections. There's a very clear difference between being completely organized and having order. There's just very separate things. You can be orderly and still not be organized. That aside, I'm trying to do my best to be as objective as I can, but simply putting it and giving a summary, premium badges were decoration, and last year they treated us better than they did this year. I feel like last year there was passion, this year there was ambition, because they had a formal apology. Mark was visibly pissed off by how much people were screwed over. At the closing ceremony, he said, "We hold y'all." That's what he said. He said openly. Somebody said, "Y'all did us dirty." They yelled it at opening ceremony. He said, "Yeah, we did. We're sorry. We really did do y'all horribly this time around." And that's what I was hoping to get again. That's the only reason I even tried to line up in the opening ceremony in the first place. But my friend, my sister who I went with, she not get a premium badge, and she has having feet problems because of the cosplay that we did. And so she couldn't get in. And I was like, I'm not gonna leave you out there. So I left. I was like, you know what, screw it. If they say an apology, I'll hear it online. Found out that the opening ceremony was equally as bad as the closing ceremony was equally as short and as bad as the opening ceremony was. And so it was kind of like they first off, they have not learned how to say no, because they could have easily told you to no. We know you guys are giving us a fat check of money, but we cannot try to squeeze you in so late notice like this. So they jumped on the bandwagon too late. If you wanted to be a part of it, you wanted to be a sponsor, you should have asked 6 months ago. If you really wanted to be a sponsor, and if you if you were actually here to try to get your get your little exposure or whatever, you would have been on top of it the moment you realized you were able to apply for sponsors. They need to learn how to say no, but they also need an actual team. They cannot be the people running the convention. Because I know dang well whoever came up with the idea for New York Comic Con is not the person running the whole convention themselves. They
Definitely
have a
not.
team, and they are the ones making all the shots. It does not mean they are the ones running the entire convention. John should not be one of a very small select set of people doing the setup for the entire con. That is the definition of insanity. Because he is. John is one of they say he spent 6 months trying to figure out the idea of the RCP. Why is one person or one small group of people trying to figure out the best way to alleviate line problems? And why did it take, why was that idea acceptable when it only took 6 months to come up with? That should have been an idea that was being come up with for the entirety of the year before. As soon as the con ended, as soon as the problems even arose, it should have been being looked at, thought about, and proofread, which is also why they do not have anybody in their PR corner. They don't have that. They are doing their own thing. They do their own set of PR, but they need real people whose their entire job is to do this. As somebody who is literally going to school for media and technology and cinematography, the number one thing that we talk about is those specific things. Each company has its own specific PR team that is constantly making sure that they are up to date with what is right to say, what is okay to say, and what is not. And they are paid good money for a reason. Those people literally have to go with every single possible trend that comes and changes and goes. So it's like they need that. But they got too big too fast. The part of the reason why the con is so much more fun when you're doing the small stuff is because that's what it is at its core. It was never a con that was supposed to be for all these big YouTubers and things like that, and all these really popular celebrities to come out and do all the extra stuff. It's a convention. It's still just a bunch of nerds getting together to have fun with each other and to enjoy being nerds in a safe space. That was not what this year's DreamCon was. Was it still fun? Were there still high points? 100%. I got to meet the Miles Morales, someone that I've looked at, and I've been able to be a part of a generation where we have Black superheroes, where it's not just white people on the screen all of the time in every single movie that we see. It's someone that when I look at their face, when I look at their skin, I can see me. And so that was a ton of fun. But that's what the con is supposed to be. That's what it should have continued to be. But they got too big too fast. They got overly ambitious, and they lost what their origin was. I've been asking for years for them to bring back wrestling. They had both pro wrestling like WWE, and they had wrestling like the sport. And they haven't brought it back since I think maybe year 3. And so it's like so much of what the identity was of the con was lost this DreamCon. Too many people have been trying to show up. Too many people have been hearing Berlizzi and hearing PG, Joe Ico, AMP, all these super big names. And instead of it being, the typical community of nerds and anime heads and gamers, it's everybody and their mama now. Because I wouldn't be surprised if half the people who were there, or maybe we'll say 30% of people there, didn't even watch anime like that. didn't even play video games like that. Especially with how long some of those lines were. A lot of people were only there to meet the big people. My sister was there because she wanted to come with me, but she wanted to meet people. She doesn't watch anime at all. She's seen maybe two anime that she's liked. She's quote for quote said that she gets bored watching Marvel movies because sometimes there's too much dialogue. And I'm like, she's just not a movie person. She's not somebody who likes movies. She's not somebody who likes anime, but she went anyway. She's dropped the $100 anyway to possibly meet famous people. And so it has genuinely become a thing not for nerds, right? And funnily enough, I think part of the reason why Comic Con and Anime Expo and even Evo is still as kind of kept to its origin as it is because it is known to have a bunch of nerds, a bunch of people who probably don't smell that great. And I feel like even though like we make fun of it, I think it's really a part of what has repelled people who are just there to see popular people from going. Because they are having to be surrounded by a bunch of nerds and a bunch of people who may be shut-ins, and this is the only place that they can go to feel, themselves. So it was a hot mess in that sense, and it was a hot mess in the premium sense. If I ever decide to go again, I will not be spending the additional on premium because I didn't even get an apology. I didn't even get a recognition that what happened was bad. I got at the ending closing ceremony because I watched it on stream that we did things a whole lot more organized this time around. I hope you all appreciate that. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Like that's not what happened. You can lie to yourselves believing that, but that's not what happened.
Yeah, there was so a point of you say that this convention's gotten bigger and it's more towards the big names instead of what it actually is. I found out from the recent game nights that I've been hosting for the Dreamcon server, is that a lot of people don't even watch RDC who are in it.
Yeah,
Like they didn't know who RDC was. They knew what Dreamcon was because
they didn't
of
know them.
Some Bros or for AMP or something like that. But they didn't know who RDC was. And I'm like, you don't know who the con runners are, but you're in their server making plans to go to their convention and you don't even know who they are. Like that doesn't make any sense. And there's people that have been going for years that didn't know that it was RDC's event. I'm like,
It's crazy because like I don't care about them as much as the average person does because I see them all the time. I live in the exact same city as them. I've met Ben while I was working on my job because he was looking for a wig for a video game House 6. So I've had the opportunity to see them on multiple different occasions because I live here. So I don't trip on seeing them. I say what's going on, and I keep it pushing. But to not know who the organizers are, but to know, like, I can understand going to a con because it's your favorite YouTubers there. But to not even know who those said people are, I can get it, but it does feel like a smack in the face. It really does feel that way.
and another thing, there's a lot of people on uh TikTok and Twitter that's saying DreamCon isn't RDCs anymore. Is AMP Con or Phase Con or some other stuff like that. They're saying it's no longer the essence of RDC. And I was like, that's a bunch of bullshit. And then being there, yeah, it's kind of not wrong. Like
They're not, and it's sad because they're really like they were supposed to have a whole RDC meet and greet.
they did, but it was closed off so quickly. And apparently people that actually went to it, it was the room they put themselves in a small room.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They put
So
themselves in the same size room that they had at some bros, which is why they had to do the apology for the premium users anyway last time, the platinum badges last time, because the room was too small and people felt like they got gypped and messed up. So it's crazy because if they were gonna do a meet and greet, right? They had their meet and greet station right next to Berleezy, Easy Games meet and greet station.
but they were never
Literally,
there.
but they were never there.
And yeah, I get it. They're running the con and also getting stuff set for the like
But
next
that's the
production and
problem. They
stuff.
shouldn't be running the con.
No, they should. No, here's one thing. If you're gonna have a table there, have somebody, one or two people there. Desmond, Ben, Dylan, Af, John, and Mark do not have to be together 24/7.
And
There's
plus, you
no
have to
reason
make
off.
more money off of your own stuff. If the people will feel more inclined to buy your merch if one of you are sitting there talking to them and say, "Hey, y'all want some of this?" They may not. They may say no, but some people will just buy it because you're sitting in front of them.
Yep.
Otherwise, that merch line had nobody
Like
over there.
to me, it's crazy because like your convention, you are the face of the convention, yet you were hardly seen. So many people posted pictures of being at the event. Not many people had pictures with RDC members, which is crazy to me. Like for every like 100, pictures, maybe there's one with somebody from RDC. And yeah, they did a lot of the after party stuff, so people were taking pictures there at the after party and stuff. But that's because
Oh, don't
they
even get me started
they
on
had to
dang.
they had to be there to show face to get people into the door to begin with. Because there were so many after parties going on that apparently that people went to the other after parties because they didn't really think RDC was going to show up to begin with, so they didn't even take a chance of doing that, which was wild to me.
But also half of the after some of the after parties were not listed on anywhere. One of the last after parties was Trap Sushi,
I
but
knew
they
about
had
that.
another. They had a they it wasn't it was Trap Kitchen
Hmm.
it was not the same place.
Nope, it was two different ones, but I was like, that's kind of weird. But
But yeah, they went to their own little section, and some people who heard word of it just went and spent the $60 at the door for Trap Sushi so they could be with them and all the other stuff. But there was no RDC Live. They would go do that. It's just though I still I will never understand how people were saying it was more organized this time around, and I appreciated the organized, but it wasn't. It was way less organized than it was last time. It was just shock value because everybody who had went before were used to the small amount of people. It went from it went from I think it was 8,000 people the year before last to 22,000 people. So of course you're going to say it felt more organized this time around because you had less struggles, but it was actually more organized the first time. There was just so much shock value and so much, this is way more than I was expecting. But when you look at it objectively and logistically, it was way more organized last time.
so John just posted on his Twitter that the next announcement that they're making on their Twitter or X, whatever, this was about 30 minutes ago, that it'll be the 20 DreamCon 2025 info. They've been teasing this thing so long, and literally every announcement they made is like the next announcement we're making is the information. Nah, y'all really just bullshitting right now. Like, just say y'all don't have a place yet. But like, hey, give us some time. We're gonna try to figure out what to do. You just can't consistently for almost 2 weeks now be like, oh, here's the announcement. No, here's the announcement. No, here's the announcement. No, like so. This is another thing I want to talk about. The location of DreamCon 2025 is going to be hard because we talked about it. The Austin Convention Center is being renovated. It's supposed to apparently expand it, make it bigger, give more rooms, have more capacity for more people. Um, do you go? So to me, the logical sense for what they would do next would be something like Los Angeles because that's where their second home is at this point. Um, so they could all just literally fly to their other house or their apartment, whatever they have. I think it's a condo, whatever, and just travel back and forth from there to the instead of having to stay in the hotel, convention hotel, whatever. But there's also bigger convention centers and arenas throughout LA. You have SoFi Arena for the Chargers and Rams. That is also half of it is YouTube's theater. So you already have the YouTube in on that one. Um, then you have the Staples Center or Staples Arena, which is the
Yeah.
Lakers area. That's one way they could probably get bigger. So like LA would be a way for them to get bigger celebrities to get more attention, obviously. Um, which is what they're going for. They want to get bigger names so they can get more people to draw in for more money and everything like that. I understand that it's a business, you're running it, whatever, cool. But they're now, like you said, they're making it not be what they are known for. It's supposed to be a sort of an intimate fan gathering of people who like the same stuff, feel like they can get a chance to meet these people and see them at a human level instead of a celebrity level. It's supposed to be personable. But let's be real. We was there this year. Shit didn't seem personal or humanized at all with any celebrity that was on the listing. We had more chance of meeting the smaller creators who, be honest, were helping out them more, being on the floor and being engaging with fans and making it seem more humanized or personal in that way. Because the fact that people like Shonen Showdown has been there for years. They had a panel last year. This year they didn't have nothing, which was crazy to me. And they was just walking the floor and they were still making content, still making it personal, still making people enjoy what they was doing and whatnot. And then like we met other people like Blaze would walk, SSB Blaze was walking around the floor, didn't even know he was supposed to be there. Um, who was the other guy that we saw that we're like, oh, we didn't know he was, I can't remember who it is. We were like, oh, he's here. We didn't know he was supposed to be here. But it's crazy that there's these, yeah, they're smaller creator, like they don't have millions of followers like AMP or some bros, but there's still people in your community with a name bringing in attention for your convention, bringing people in for your convention, and they're treated just like a normal person instead of somebody who should not. I'm not going to say give them a free premium badge or anything like that or press badge or whatever because the press situation was also stupid. It pissed me off. The requirements for it was stupid. Couldn't give an industry badge, but give them a content or a creator badge to the people know, hey, who do you, what do you do, or something like that, or if they already know somebody, or they're already known, people would go up to them and know for sure that's them. But it was crazy that there's so many of these guys who were actually on the floor level who got nothing. It's crazy to me. And it felt like
Mm.
they were doing a lot of work for RDC ground level work for nothing. And that when I go to conventions and I go out and I do all the people on like man on the floor, just man on the street kind of thing where I interview people, talk to people, and try to get attention to do smaller conventions. Yeah, that's what we're doing. I get it for free. I get to do that and bring attention. But a convention at that level, these are your guys that you want to also bring in for you to do that work to make that stuff so seem personable. So if situations like we were in where we were stuck in lines or we didn't get much chance to actually go see the big name celebrities, at least we knew there was people on the ground that we could talk to, interact with, network with, and still make stuff happen. Because legit, if we didn't run into those people, we would have known anything was going on. We would have just all the people were in the green room, not meeting anybody. Because a lot of these guys never showed their fucking face, and that's so bad to me. I hate when you go to a convention and you don't get to see nobody except for their block here, or their block here. Don't show up if you don't want to fucking meet people. Don't show up. I get it. You're a regular person, cool. You don't always want to be a face and everything like that. You're brought in to do that though. You're brought in to be a face, to be somebody recognized, to you don't want to sit at your table all day, cool. If you're in a group, switch people in and out, whatever. But when the whole crew is just backstage chilling, no, that's ridiculous. There were so many times you'd walk into the exhibit room and all these groups were nowhere in sight at all. None of the celebrities were there. It was just people in there, like their handlers were there, but they weren't there. And people talked about it. Like they would like, I wanted to meet this person, this person, this person. Never saw them. I was like, that's crazy for 3 days you didn't see this person. Like if we didn't go to the big stage events, we would never seen any of the big name people at all. That's crazy
Mm.
to me. Like that's ridiculous. It shouldn't be like that. Your logistics is so bad because you're trying to do so much. You're trying to bring in these names. You're trying to pull all these. You're trying to do all this. Keep it simple. That's all you have to do is keep it simple. Don't try to do what you're not supposed to do. You guys aren't like the other conventions. That's what made you guys bigger in the first place. That it was so personable for those first few years. That's why I wanted to go to Dreamcon so bad because I was like, oh, I get a chance to actually meet RDC or I get to meet AMP or some bros and actually get to kick it with them. Cool. Nope. It was literally just another convention where I don't get to meet any of the celebrities unless I just run into them by random. And you couldn't run into them random except for after parties or if they were leaving, which is crazy. That's my
Yeah.
rant. I'm done. That's my rant. It was
How about
ridiculous.
you, Creed? How are you? What do you think? How are you feeling if we haven't already,
Yeah, where's your
made points
notebook?
upon
Where's your notebook?
Oh gosh, my notebook's right here. My main character, Yuji Tadori. No.
That's why you got
it's
blurs.
tired of you?
Damn. You know what? Um, I mean, overall, because this was definitely my first year for Dreamcon, and it's been something I've wanted to do for years. I can't really say I've walked away disappointed, but I wouldn't say I'm completely satisfied either. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was when I had the moments to just have fun, hanging out with Roger was really cool and just getting to goof around and stuff. But like you said, I feel like having everything centered towards the panels and stuff kind of just dulled the experience a bit because you're spending so much time waiting in lines and then also waiting in the room for the event to start, only for it to either not be what you expected or to not be nearly as long as you wanted it to be. Um, there were definitely issues with what we said in the beginning about the lines and stuff. That stuff, I feel like that should be something that should be not perfected, but a little more improved than what it was for this time. You guys brought up the example of New York Comic Con a lot, and like New York Comic Con is still like my favorite convention I've gone to so far. And with how big it is and how much that they have going on compared to DreamCon, they have their shit together. I mean, there are instances every now and then where things do fall through, but they recover quickly. And they do acknowledge it. They also have a closing ceremony where they have a Q&A panel with the staff and also I think it's the chairman of Reed Pop who runs the convention. So they
Mhm.
actually have the opportunity to ask questions and bring up the issues where things are addressed on the spot. And it's led to so many good changes for the convention itself. So just having stuff like that or having a bigger team would be more beneficial for running the convention. Because like you said, if you're only having like a few people run a convention that was going to host like a few thousand people, it's not going to go very well because there's going to be delays in things. There's going to be information that's being lost. There's going to be things that just get lost in translation because you have people that aren't fully familiar with the logistics of these things trying to run it, and it's just going to create issues. Um, trying to think from my standpoint, I think. I don't know too much about like the platinum stuff, but from what I've seen and what you've explained, Josh, I think it's just the system definitely needs improvement. There definitely needs to be some work in that portion of it because if you are not providing an experience that makes it worth paying that extra 150 something dollars for that perk, what's the point of even offering it then? You need to give people a reason to want to pay that money for that benefit. Otherwise, it's just extra money down the drain for these attendees, and that's not fair to them when they are promised something that's not being delivered on. Um, as far as where I would like to see the convention happen again for next year, I mean, I don't really have a preference. I just would not like it to be Vegas or New York because those two would be really expensive, especially speaking as someone who's gone to New York Comic Con for like a few years now. Just a hotel for like 2 days is still ridiculous in some places. And it's just like when I do DreamCon, I want to do like the entire con. I want to do like the full 3, 4 days if I could do that. But if it's going to be in either of those two places, that's going to be impossible because I'm not going to be able to warrant that much money. Especially it depends on if they actually improve things enough to make me want to go out that way to do all that. But I don't know. I mean, overall, I still had a good time. I won't say I was extremely satisfied, but I wouldn't say I was extremely disappointed either. It's definitely considered for me to attend next year, but that will depend on where it's located and what's being offered, really. But yeah, that's pretty much my standpoint.
So they posted the DreamCon 2024 recap their Instagram. I'm watching it right now, and it's crazy to me how much production was put into this recap film than there was in the actual whole entire convention itself.
Yeah, and then to piggyback off what you guys said about like the personal interactions and stuff like that, I think that's also important because that was the other thing that got me interested in it because having the opportunity to meet these creators that you admire and have conversations with them, I think that is the main attraction that a lot of people had for it. And to not have that be something that's easily attainable throughout the convention was kind of a letdown. I mean, there, like you said, there were a few people you saw every now and then, but only because they're going in and out of events or they're going somewhere already and you just happen to catch them while they're on their way. Like when we were in the dealer's hall, we happened to see Mark going into the room for where they did the
Nah, nah, nah,
dodgeball.
nah. Tell the story correctly.
And
Tell
stupid.
the story correctly. Tell the story correctly. So we're over here, and I don't even want to talk about this because I'm still mad about it. So we were walking about the exhibit hall, and we get to the part where there is the entrance doors, and you're going around that one area to have all the cool clothes that has all the anime designer outfits and everything like that, and they have like the jackets that are pretty cool, sweaters and everything like that. We was looking at, and then there was the entrance to Exhibit Hall 5, which was the House of Highlights area. So there's this one section, which pretty much biggest way to put it, you're at this giant convention center, giant hall. It's the entrance door, then there's the big old walkway towards another door, pretty much. And I'm over here. I think I was looking at something over here. I was on my phone or something, just doing something, paying attention to something else. And old Mr. Magoo over here apparently forgot how to do words and everything. And he's like, oh, he's here. And
Yeah, no,
he claims to point forward, which he didn't.
I did point
He
forward.
pointed behind him, so
No, I
he's
pointed forward.
so I'm literally looking this way to my direct left, and all I see is two big guys, like security guys, and I didn't pay any attention to them because there was security walking around the whole event, just in and out of areas, just walking the floors regardless. So I was like, okay, cool. He's like, oh, there he is. Like, is there a special security guard I'm supposed to be over here? Is this the Detroit tactical emergency dude that was on YouTube for forever? I didn't know what was going on. And then I hear a bunch of guys talking like, oh no, no, like what is going on? And I turn around and Mark is walking into the fucking House of Highlights area away from everybody after he had taken pictures with a group of people. This man says he's here. That's all he said. He didn't say, yo, that's Mark. Oh, hey, Mark is right there. Cool, let's go take a picture. Like, come on, man. No, nothing like this. He's here.
Okay,
Cool, my
you know
man.
what?
Cool, my
First
man.
of all, my in my defense, I literally got no sleep that entire weekend. Considering what was it? I didn't land in Texas until mid 12:30 a.m. Friday, and I only got like probably 3 hours of sleep that day,
I don't hear no
going into that
excuses.
day.
Josh and I went to Sixth Street, and then we went to after party, and we was out there till in them streets until 2 a.m.
Hey, you know what? You guys still got sleep.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
true.
nothing.
Shit, we didn't get no sleep. What you mean?
I was tired. I was just overwhelmed with everything else. So yeah, I was like, oh, it's him. It's
No, no, it wasn't.
no.
No, all you said is he's here. It does nothing. That's all you said,
Yeah,
and you
no,
pointed
no, I
behind
was
yourself,
sitting,
and you
no, and I
pointed
was sitting,
behind
no,
yourself.
and I was sitting, no, I pointed, I tore in front of myself. Thank you very much. And then I was just sitting there like, oh, for some reason, saying his name was so difficult. I was like, it's what's his face? It's
Literally,
I
like he
just could not say
and
his name for some
And
reason.
the thing that bugs me so much is that Mark was essentially like right next to me. Through the time I was looking over here, he was pretty much, if I'm looking this way, Mark would have been like right here. And by the
Hmm.
time I turned around, he had already walked all the way down the hall, that little area to the entrance of creator of the House of Highlights. I was so mad because that man, we might have actually touched shoulders. We don't even know. But nah, this man, you're the Buddha Bomb over here. Sound like Doodle Bomb because he can't get his words together. And then he did it again when Tony was in the panel room and he was leaving the panel room. Luckily, this time I actually
Oh
looked
yeah.
around because this time he's like, oh, he's in here too. I was like, use names. Like, I'm looking around, and thankfully Tony had his hair down, so I noticed who he was. Because if he would have his hair up, he'd have just been another dude in the panel with baggy clothes. That's all it would have been. God, this
Yeah,
man.
no, yeah, the 21 I can't say anything about. I did fluff that one up.
I was like, my man, what is you doing?
I was tired.
God, I'm so mad that I still didn't get a chance to take a picture with. There was like six guys that got to take a picture with Mark. Not me though. Not me though. And you know what? Mark is shorter in person. He's shorter than me, and that actually
Oh
is
my
kind of
God,
funny.
he's about like my height, and
So,
it was really off-putting to see.
like he always talks about how he's 6 foot tall and all this. So, nah, son, you ain't
Mm-mm.
nah.
Nah,
You stop the cap.
nah, in his dreams he is.
Like I'm probably 5'11" and 3/4, 6 foot with shoes. He was shorter than me. This man ain't 6 foot tall. But either way, I didn't get to take a picture with the homie because somebody forgot what words were or names were.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, that's a very common thing. So,
Uh,
and then what was it? Oh, the other one I think you were mentioning earlier, the other one that we weren't expecting was the Miles Morales guy from TikTok.
oh yeah, the NPC dude.
Yeah, he was there. That was so
He
weird because
was
that was the
not in a good mood at all
no,
for
No,
any of that.
no,
apparently he was in a bad mood the whole weekend. So I don't know
yeah,
if something
Well, I'll
had
say this: he
pissed him
was
off
only
or
in a
what.
bad mood whenever he was having to talk to other people. When he was with his homies, he was chilling. He did not
oh
like
yeah,
being interacted with. I'm like, bro, you know who you are, right?
yeah.
So
No,
my
there were
thing
two
is,
times. Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was gonna say there were two times I saw him. One was when Roger and I split, and I was walking through the hall, and like his security guard like bum rushed a guy out the way because he was like, I don't know, 2 inches too close and just pushed him out the way. And I was like, that's interesting. And he looked
First of all,
pissed there.
this dude had a bodyguard,
Yeah, it was a big ass black dude, and he
bro.
was sitting there pushing people out the way that were
Bro,
like 2 inches too close.
you are the NPC dude on TikTok.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then the other time I saw him was he was out there in that area with the cars. And he was talking to that other Spider-Man guy that you showed on the Discord chat,
Mhm.
Josh. I can't remember his name. But they were chilling up there, and yeah, he was having like the time of his life, and his security guard wasn't even there. So
Yeah,
I'm just like, it's
so that's actually on the 2024 recap. Apparently, they were doing stunts together for a video for Dreamcon.
serious. Wow.
Yeah, there's an actual segment of when one of them flips over the other one, and they do
That's hero.
the Spider-Man stare down and everything like that. Like, where was all this? Like, where was all this shit happening while we were there? Like, all the
No
stuff they
clue.
were showed on it. There were some segments that at the big events were like, yeah, those were the big events. But when they were walking the floor and stuff, I was in line for hours. I didn't see no fucking cameras going around.
Yeah, I'm like certain that most of that stuff happened while we were in the panels. And that's why I'm like I never have been a person for panels specifically. Like I usually just walk around and stuff, but like next time if we do go next time, I will just be walking around versus going to panels and stuff.
Like, yeah, like next year for me to go to a panel has to be a sort of a fan panel or maybe a smaller content creator. Like the one where we
Mm.
went to see um the stories of like the other content creators and stuff like that. Those were cool. It was
Oh yeah, no, that was dope.
smaller room, more interactive, good information, stuff like that. Those were cool. But main stage stuff, nah, it's gonna have to be something super, super like high out there. You're gonna have to have like Jordan Peele doing a casting call or something. Cause I'm not doing it. Like I'm not nah man. Y'all lost me. That's sad to say that I will not go to a main stage panel because like, yeah, I understand that the main stage is not only personable, cool, but the logistical nightmare that it was to get in there, to be there, stand in line, get in there, and situate ourselves was just ridiculous.
Yeah, like
But
the
the DJ was dope though.
oh yeah, no, that was actually fun when we were just sitting there chilling. Everyone's just having a dance party. No, that was cool. I got a lot of videos from that one.
I did too. My thing is though, this man played Mo Bamba in a room full of us. Like I said, I'm surprised there was not a fight out in the stands just waiting for the event to
Man,
start.
it was brewing because I think he was telling people to calm down a bit too and get back to their seats. So I think it was
Yeah,
happening. He was just like, ah, nah, you niggas.
niggas. I
I
hate
hate
niggas.
niggas.
uh, but no, overall, even though we said all this stuff about DreamCon and everything like that, there were still moments of fun. There were still enjoyable stuff. Like I said, a lot of the smaller panels that I went to was great. Sunday, I spent the pretty much I was there for 6 hours, I believe. 10 to no, I was there 5 hours. And out of those 5 hours, I spent 4 hours in a D&D room. I wasn't even in the game. I was helping, like this guy was running it. I got in there like 20 minutes after they had started, so they already had made their characters, or they had default characters. Some people had characters already made, whatever. And I pretty much just there, just chilling, letting them do their story. And whenever somebody had like a question or something like that, I chimed in with my input. I gave them like people who are new to it. They're like, "Oh, how does this work, or how does this mechanic work, or how can I make this work and stuff like that." I was there to lend help. I was a helper. It was cool. Wasn't even meant to be there. Everybody in that room, I got all their personal discords, even the dungeon master. We created a small D&D group pretty much at this point. So it was like that was the most fun I had that whole weekend, just chilling, laughing, being with the community. And at literally during Sunday, it really dawned on me like, hey, we don't need to do panels. There are some panels that, yeah, they're cool, like the small, like I said, the small ones, like the more personable ones, but the main stage ones, it was not worth the hassle to be in them lines.
Yeah.
Not no real reward out of them besides. I mean, to be honest, like Jeopardy, I always look forward to because that's the fun stuff. At most conventions they do it, but this one was just done so poorly. Like,
No, it's just they did no prep work for it, and it
mm-mm.
showed because they relied on their phones as the buzzers, which they could have gotten like little cheap actual buzzers to do. They didn't understand the rules of Jeopardy at all. Like I felt like that should have been a given to know the rules of the game you're trying to play.
Yeah, like apparently you could have steal an answer. Like, since when can you not steal an answer?
Yeah, like you can steal an answer, but I don't know why they said you couldn't. Like that's
Yeah.
literally Jeopardy.
Like
But
you wait for somebody to mess up, get the wrong answer. So if you're a 50-50 on an answer and somebody else goes and you mess up, like, yo, I know the actual answer, let me get the point.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
it was sloppy. And like Josh said, like RDC themselves shouldn't be the face, the runners, the handlers, the cook, the dishwasher, the chauffeur, the valet, whatever. They shouldn't be doing all the assets and facets of this con. They need a team. I get that you guys don't want to give control to somebody else, but hey, Mark, I know you've worked for other people and done commercials for other people. It's cool. Like you've literally given up production to other people, so you know how it works. Sometimes you need a team. Sometimes you need to control somebody else. You can still control it, but not be fully hands on because that's ridiculous. I don't know, but that's the rant over. For me at least, I don't know if you guys have any last inputs for this at all. I still ended up having fun when there was fun to be had. Like I said,
Mm.
when I walked the floor and stuff, walked around it cool. A lot of the artists and vendors had some really cool stuff. I do hate that the variety was so small.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was literally so much mainstream stuff. And my favorite thing about going to conventions is finding those um either older, like the more vintage anime like stuff, or like the very niche people who like you can tell like specific anime and they make cool art for that anime and stuff like that that probably doesn't get much love. Like I would have loved that. Like it was crazy to me that I didn't see. We saw people who did free run cosplay and Delicious Dungeon cosplay, but there was no artwork for any of that.
Mm.
It was the basic. It was Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, JJK, Demon Slayer, My Hero. Like I don't even know if there was really anything else besides the 08 or 7. Um, Now I can't really think about. It was literally those 7 and like maybe one or two other ones from a person here or there, but
Mm.
the variety was so slim. I'm like, yo, this is supposed to be an anime convention. Like y'all supposed to come out here and have all the craziness from different animes, everything for everybody. Cool, but you're just catering to the mainstream. And yeah, that'll probably get you the most money. But when the dude next to you is doing the same thing, and the dude next to them, the girl across from you, are all selling the exact same thing, nobody wins that situation because y'all are diversifying and make yourself desired or wanted.
Mm.
Um, and then, um, I mean, there were some other vendors that were selling other stuff, which was cool and everything. But no, it was just, I felt like it wasn't a convention as more, it was a
A meet and
bit,
greet.
not even a meet and greet because we didn't get
Well,
to meet and greet anybody
well,
really.
not meet and greet slash like
I felt like
networking.
I felt like it was
It
more like
was an
a,
overglorified kickback of popular Black creators.
Yeah.
and yet they would even get to they even show this. I felt like it was a conference, like one of those big conferences where everybody's like supposed to meet up and then do like these meetings and then later on break apart and then network and everything. I feel like it was that because like the big name people that you were there to see, you see them during the meetings, but after the meetings they was gone. So I just felt like it
Mm.
was just a glorified convention conference and not a convention. Like they 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 really stepped away from the convention aspects or the convention or what a convention is supposed to be, um, which is crazy to me because at this point, with how big they went from year to year and how much money was given to them to make this event run and whatnot, it felt like it was just thrown together last week and then like okay, hope for the best because there was so much, like we said throughout, there was things that weren't communicated. The YouTube thing wasn't communicated. The scavenger hunt thing wasn't communicated. The after parties were shambles as well. Meet and greets, photo ops, and all that stuff. People are literally asking in the Dreamcon server if anybody has pictures from the cosplay meetups because whoever did the official pictures, nobody can find out who did them or anything like that. So they don't know where those pictures are. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so I was like, that's crazy to me.
No, stuff
Um,
like that actually pisses me off because it's like, why go through all the trouble of collecting all these people and, organizing something if you're not going to deliver on the product that they're looking for? They want to have these pictures for the memory of that moment, and yet you're failing to deliver that for them. Like, I can't. Like, I finally got to experience because I went to a con the week before Dreamcon, and I actually got to be in a cosplay meetup and take pictures and stuff, and it was so much fun. And like, to hear that people are just being disappointed now because they're not getting the pictures of those moments is just awful.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much people on the server are like, "Hey, this is who I cosplayed as. This is what I look like. If you got pictures of me, please share them or send them to me. I didn't get them from XYZ, or I went to this, and this, and I can't find the pictures or anything like that." Like that's so disappointing because there was a lot of amazing cosplay there,
Oh
and
yeah.
for you to literally like, yeah, it's on you for not having your own, I guess photographer, not photographer, but you take your own pictures and have your own pictures. But like the meet and greet, like the cosplay meetups, the whole point was to meet people in cosplay for the same anime who dress like you, maybe, or just a character from the anime. And then somebody is supposed to take a picture and then give out those pictures or anything like that or post them somewhere so people can tag themselves because that's the smarter thing. But
Yeah.
literally, there's not been any posting from DreamCon stuff except for the recap, day one recap, day two recap, day three recap, 2024 recap. Oh, here's gonna be the announcement. Oh, this is gonna be the announcement. No, next time is the announcement. Like, get that shit out there. Get stuff for your fans. Like at this point, like people are like, yeah, saying yeah, they're going to go to DreamCon next year, regardless, but they're not going to do any of the events. They're just going to go to meet up because
Mhm.
they don't want to wait in lines. They don't care about what the panels are anymore. They don't really care who the guests are going to be. So they're like, it's just going to literally be just a kickback convention at this point. Like you said, just a popular black creator kickback. But even then, if people aren't want to go for the content creators, who like it doesn't even matter. Like it's crazy to me. Um, but yeah, there's our truth on DreamCon. I know a lot of people have been glazing, saying it was great, 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 but they'll say great on their social medias, but come into the server and talk down or say something bad or whatever because they're afraid, which is stupid to me. Like, why are you being fake? Just be honest about it. We need more. They need more feedback to know what they did wrong so they can fix it and try to do more better next year. Apparently, they regressed from last year to this year, so it doesn't even matter. Um, which is crazy to me. Um, but to wrap this up, question of the next week, I guess, um, is let me pull it up because I want to make sure I word this correct. Uh, we already did that one. Got to erase that one. Question of the week for the next episode: what is the saddest anime scene?
Shit.
I already have my answer.
Oh shoot,
You
I
got a
already
week
have a
to you
few
got a week to think
answers.
about it. I've
Yeah, all
Man.
got
right.
I've got two high ones, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in, listening to our rants. We have been getting from the analytics, we've been getting more outreach. We're just not getting people to watch the whole episode. So, let us know what are we doing, like what we need to do, improve, or anything like that. Um,
Are we too colored? Is that what it is?
Are we too colored? Is crazy.
I also did have people say that the audio was a little low, so I guess I'm going to tweak the audio and just raise our volume up a little bit more, which is crazy to me too. At that point, like I feel like I'm pretty loud, but whatever. It's feedback. I'm gonna take it and improve it, I guess. But no, thank you guys so much. We're not going to do a Fast and Furious segment at this point. We might watch Fast and Furious this weekend, so Creek can get started on that.
Oh
So
God.
As he should.
how far are you in Bleach?
Chad, you
Speaking
would,
of
you know,
that,
I, you know what, I'm gonna be candid. I have not touched it since before DreamCon, so I still have yet to touch the arc after the whole Rukia being saved thing.
So you're still not even into the Mount
wait,
arc,
you
which is
haven't
crazy.
even. That's funny.
Nope, I literally did a hard stop. I mean, to be fair, I did a hard stop on everything before DreamCon,
I
so
did too.
I'm still trying to like recuperate myself before I get back into things because there are still some stuff that I'm just like I haven't touched in a bit.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. Today I started or continuing on into One Piece. I am where they're talking to where they beat what Aspie or Asip or whatever her name is. I can talk to the Millennial Dragon, Grandpa Ryu, Lost Island. It's a green dragon. They meet the dude with the sickle fruit.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
It's like
That must be filler. That has to
yeah,
be
oh,
filler.
it
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
feels like it.
that's a
And
hundred
this
percent.
is and this is horrendous as this is filler. Because if this is how bad their filler is, I'm glad that Bleach's filler is so much better because this is
Yeah, no,
crazy.
see the fact that I totally forgot about that just shows that I did not care about that filler at all. The
Let me
one that
see.
sticks out the most though is Long Ring Long because it's just so painful and they keep doing it over and over and over. Oh, I'm so happy filler is not a thing anymore right now.
Is the Worship Island arc? That's what they
He's
call
like
it.
they're speaking to a dragon.
Yeah. So it's not going to show good at all, is it? This right here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Worship Island arc.
yeah, you can skip that, honestly.
Well, shit, I realized that 4 episodes in. I was like, what is this? Like, it was such a hard left out of nowhere. They left,
Yeah,
they left, they just had the meeting with Smoker and everything. And first time we meet Smoker and he's supposed to be cool, whatnot. And then we go into this shit. I was like, man, this is like even slow pace. And even for One Piece, this is a slow pace. Cause I was like, this is crazy right now. And then as it's going on, I'm like, this shit don't matter, does it? And then I
no,
got I
like
got like 4 episodes in. I was like, yo, this is a filler arc. I was like, it's kind of bad that I can even tell the difference between filler for One Piece and what's actual main story because of how slow pacing the filler is. I'm like, yo, I wanted to punch a baby today.
Yo. I will say, and well, I hope every One Piece fan would agree, or most would
we
agree
hope.
that
Hope is the
the
key word there.
yeah, hope
Yo, this
that
is wild. Sorry.
uh-oh.
I'm in one of the sub discords for DC, and somebody just posted a bunch of videos from a lot of the lives and stuff like that. And boy, big booty chocolate
Have we
con.
ended the episode yet?
Nah. Nah.
He said
Uh,
big booty Oh my gosh.
but no. um, nah, they was showing stuff, and there was video too. Like, yo, we out there. CreamCon is real. That's what I'm trying to go for next year. It's CreamCon, not DreamCon. You know what I'm
Oh man, I'm just gonna have fun taking pictures.
Yo, here's my
Sir,
thing.
you got
I'm
to you
trying.
gonna have to you gonna have to look for you gonna have to be careful when you say with that one. When you hear
What you talking
CreamCon, you
about?
said, "I'm just gonna take pictures and enjoy." You're gonna have to,
Okay,
you
well, you know
know,
what? I
You
you
know what?
know.
You know what? We do need to have this next year at Vegas. Think about all the kind of stars we gonna have
Oh
there.
no. If it's
all
in
right.
first off, first thing is I don't know if I'm if it's in Vegas, that's a fat maybe if I really go. Because I was already like, I don't know if I'm gonna go again to DreamCon if they keep doing it the same way they've been doing it.
It's gonna be
What's
CreamCon next year.
but if they do go to Vegas first, that's a pretty penny, bro. That's a pretty penny out of my
Yeah,
Oh
pocket.
no,
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
that's
other
break
absolutely.
the bank.
side of the freaking state for me, or the country for me, excuse me.
For you, for me, and Creed.
Yeah, no,
So
we
yeah,
went
What?
Creed,
going to
Creed,
Texas
Creed
was
always got to
crazy.
spend a whole bunch of money. He
You're
in
like
freaking New
two.
England.
You're
He
two
always got
states
to spend money.
away. You're two
What do you
states
mean? I'm
away.
2 states away. What do you mean? I'm in Texas. Cal.
Nevada's
No,
right
Nevada.
there.
That's right. I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah,
why I
I was
thought
like,
Las
yeah.
Vegas, California. I don't know why I thought Las
I
Vegas.
was like, Taylor, you could
Geography's
drive
not
there.
geographying right
You
now.
could drive there and
I don't know
in a certain
why
amount
I
of time it
thought
takes to fly there. That's kind of crazy.
I don't know why I thought it was Las Vegas,
Oh, you were
Los
thinking,
California.
Angeles. He was thinking
Yeah,
Los Angeles. Los
yeah,
Santos.
Los
Los
Santos.
Santos.
It's crazy we got console Valorant before we got GTA 6.
Ooh,
I mean,
man.
no, what's crazy is that CreamCon's going to happen before we got GTA 6.
No, no,
And
no, no,
with
no, no,
that,
no, wrong,
guys,
wrong, wrong. No, 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 no. All right, we
I'm
love
telling you,
y'all.
yeah.
Y'all,
All I'm saying is, hey, if they announce Vegas next year, I'm booking my Airbnb first. It's gonna be,
okay,
it's gonna have like 10 people, so we gonna split that. It's gonna have a pool and a
before
jacuzzi, and we're gonna make CreamCon a DreamCon.
before that,
guys,
we
thank
got
you
we
for
gotta
listening.
something else I want to bring up maybe for a topic of next time because we're kind of starting to not just be an anime podcast. It's kind of more like a pop culture nerdy thing. We should also really talk about like gaming, but not specifically as a whole, but like currently the graphical evolution when especially like the GTA 6 trailer. My I want to kind of talk about you know how that could affect people, especially young folks. Because I remember I played GTA when I wasn't supposed to be playing GTA for sure.
Everybody
But
has.
like thinking about
Yeah.
it now, I saw that trailer. I'm like, man, I don't know if I'd be comfortable having my 12-year-old brother playing in this game right now.
Hey,
Oh,
that's
I
why they
would.
always say mature games is up to the parents to
Yeah.
Hmm.
make that decision. Just like R-rated movies. Like I'm cool with a teen for teens. Some of those are cool, some of them are not. And then you have PG-13 movies. Some you could decide which ones are cool for the kids to see and whatnot. At the point where an adult physically has to buy you the game, then that's on them for not understanding that they kid can only get the game if you bought it.
The
Yeah,
only game
all
I'd
they.
ever feel like is acceptable, at least for me, for R-rated was LA Noire.
See, I love that game, and I hate the fact that Rockstar literally bankrupted the studio that produced it or developed it
Yeah.
and ruined our chances again. Because think about if we would have gotten L.A. Noir 2 or sort of the same,
Oh
like
man.
same kind of game by the same studio with the advance in technology. Because mocap now is so more realistic with the 3D imaging and stuff like now. Like, yo, that would
Mhm.
have been crazy to
If
think
it
about.
did
Yeah.
get like advanced, it definitely would. I would definitely. I know I'm standing. I'm sorry. I definitely would be like, oh yeah, definitely not for a 12-year-old. Absolutely not. If they advance that, because that's real detective work, like legitimately.
But the real question is, where's Bully 2? You know what I'm saying?
All right,
Oh
that's
my
gonna be the
gosh, we
top.
need
That's gonna
that.
be our secondary topic for the next podcast. We
Nah, I can
have
I can go more for on that than anything else right now because it bugs me so much that I still ain't got that motherfucker.
yeah.
I'm so bad.
Let's actually end it because I think part of the reason why they take it so long to get to the end of it is because we don't be yapping, bro.
We yappers. That's our job now. Hopefully,
It's what we
um,
do, baby.
yeah, Beyblades. No, I mean there was dudes actually doing
Hey,
Beyblade
play,
battles
play,
at the
play.
exhibit hall.
I wanted to go see it. I
It was
it's
at the
been such
exhibit
a
hall.
long it's been such a long time since I've seen Beyblade in action and I really wanted to see that and I'm actually kind of disappointed I missed it.
Dudes were literally like somebody actually bought the stadium and placed it in the floor at the exhibit hall, and dudes were just screaming. I was like, first of all, just rocking a Beyblade in their pocket. Like, like,
You gotta stay strapped in these streets, man. What's wrong
hey,
with
you
you?
know, you got to let it rip. Clack, 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 clack. I
Never
got
be
to
caught lacking.
never. That's why, you know, you can shoot that thing off and hit somebody and hurt them real quick.
I mean, have you seen that kid sitting there training it look like it's a sniper rifle?
Yeah.
Sitting there creating craters in the concrete.
But no, that we're really going to end it here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to
Enjoy
share.
my typing ASMR while we, close it out here.
Oh, this man gonna be up in our ears. But
Hang on, I'll make it to where you actually is. Yeah.
but thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. If you listen on Spotify, leave us a review, give us 5 stars. It really helps us out. We're getting a little bit more traction. That's all. Thank you guys to help us out there. If you're on YouTube, obviously subscribe, leave comments on the episodes. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you think about our opinions. How was your DreamCon experience? And if you're listening to this on Apple, or I think it's Apple's the only other one, leave a 5 star. I don't in a review. Their algorithm is a lot more different. It's hard for me to understand that one. But thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed it. We really do want to know what you guys DreamCon feelings are and what your expectations for next year are, or what you guys are going to change or what you're going to do different. But thank you guys so much. We appreciate y'all. And you guys can say bye-bye now.
Hey, goodbye, everybody. Let us know if we're being too bothersome with our darkness, but otherwise, thank you for watching and
First
listening,
of
or
all,
however you're
first of all,
consuming the content.
first of all, sir, what is this? Like, when you are you being Uncle Ruckus on yourself? Like, what is this?
Well, well, well.
In honor of the Paris Olympics. Au revoir, mes amis.
Nah, fuck Paris.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, bro.